Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in. We'll start the session in next couple of minutes. We're just waiting for some more participants to join in. We'll start in next 2 minutes. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Udit Wadhwa. I'm the CEO and partner at AGMS Group Kuwait. On behalf of AGMS Group, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar on understanding AI risk, governance, and quality assurance. As you all know, AI adoption is accelerating rapidly. In fact, over 70% of the organizations today are already using AI in some form. However, governance frameworks and risk controls are still catching up. This gap is where the real challenge lies. For organizations in Kuwait and in the GCC, this is becoming even more critical, not just from a technology standpoint, but also from a regulatory, operational, as well as a reputational perspective. So today's session is designed to give you a clear understanding of key AI risks, practical insights from the real world failures, an overview of global frameworks, and most importantly, how organizations can implement robust governance frameworks and as well as quality assurance mechanisms. So we'll keep this session interactive. Please feel free to send your questions in the chat box. With that, let me introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Senthil Kumar. He is our Chief AI Officer as well as our Managing Partner for Technology Risk Advisory and Consulting Services. Senthil not only brings more than 25 years of experience in IT risk advisory in the region, but he also brings extensive experience in AI consulting, product development, and governance framework. He has been actively involved in implementing AI solutions across industries. With that introduction, I hand over the session to our today's speaker, Mr. Senthil Kumar. Over to you, Senthil.
Thank you, Udit. It's an excellent good morning to everybody, and it's very important for us to be time conscious. So allow me to present something about what the risk is all about it and how we can govern and what are some of the international best practices. And however, do not restrain your thought process or any questions so that you can shoot a mail as in a chat over the period of time, probably around 30 minutes afterwards. We will take a look into what those particular chats because we like to be interactive and we'll go back on the chats and then we can do it. As Udit said, I have developed some pretty someone writing too much of echo. I'm not sure about how it's coming up. Your voice is echoing. I don't know what to do with that.
Senthil, it is fine. You can please
continue. Okay, right. Okay, so in the past like couple of months, we have been seeing a lot of exponential growth of AI usages, and along with that, there is somebody's writing that maybe two of you are in the same room. No, gentlemen, we are not at all two people in the same room. Anyway, thanks for the information. If in the interest of time, let's continue it. So what is all about AGMS AI and the company which we incorporated specifically for AI, and we want to be focused on that particular vertical. So we have services, we provide consulting, training, and auditing services. And we also developed AI native products, compliances, chat audit, security, agentic AIs, and all. We have been developing solutions. We have been selling the services to our clients. There's quite a nice reception to our products. As a technology solution arm of AJMS Global, we do have a RegTech solutions, FinTech solutions, and insurance tech solutions. AI has been embedded on those solutions. It's to provide outliner, fraud detection, or any kind of predictive suggestion to our customers, consumers, kind of thing. We also use the AI internally largely. Our knowledge management is completely powered by AI solutions. Our corporate services like talent acquisition, accounting, reconciliations are done through agentic AI processes internally. We also have a large number of AI engineers. We have solution architects, we have business analysts, we have integrators, we have automation experts, as well as prompt engineers. Many of our organization users have excellent prompt engineers. And the first and foremost, everybody should know about it, how to prompt it. And we're also getting partnered with Anthropic. We are partnering with AWS and Google, and then we are trying to be utilizing their platforms. With that particular background, I like to get on this today's agenda. In today's agenda, we're going to be talking through making some very clear statement on AI risk and what are those AI risks are and how the AI risk can be governed or mitigated through governance as well as risk management risk practices. And also we're going to be showing some of the real world use cases of some of the exposure or exploits and what we can learn out of those exposure and exploits. Some of the controls framework provides you some control statements which we can match against those risk mitigation, learning from others' mistakes. And I'm also going to be highlighting a quality assurance framework for any AI initiatives, because anything like AI is also one very large technological innovation and the technological platform being developed. It has to have a quality principles without which we will not get the required quality outputs. And then we have a question and sessions. Probably feel free to ask any questions. We like to be more interactive as we want to be. Okay, so in the very interesting figures, like we have 72% of organizations nowadays use AI in some format or other format. They may be using simple LLMs, the frontier LLMs. They may be your organization may have subscriptions to Copilot as a part of your Microsoft team, Microsoft solutions, or could be you would have taken an enterprise version of Anthropic, or you may have a Gemini, or even from the other frontier tools. So there is unlike previously when everything is data science based or algorithm based, with the 2023 and 2024, GenAI has really revolutionized it to bring the 72% of the usages. And that's really good to see that people are becoming smarter with using AI tools. Out of this 72%, as I said, the major growth is coming from GenAI. GenAI is really revolutionized it by bringing LLMs and then simple prediction of the content and summarizing content, suggesting contents is becoming a very well adopted. Everybody uses now. And if nobody using it or somebody is not using it, is at a disadvantage of others. However, seems to be similar amount of risk being available. This risk number is 56% risk is coming up. As people use it, also risk is coming up. Only 35% of companies are using governance framework. It's quite an understatement. 56 people are risk exposure, 72 people are using it. Only 35% are using some of the governance. So it means that 50% of organizations doesn't even bother about governing. They may have some controls here and there, but will not a structured governance process to be implemented in 50% organization. That's what I'm saying. So the adoption curve is steep, the governance is fat. That's a kind of information, I would like to pass it on to you. And it is important for us to do a governing. Without a governing, things may go really, really off track. So before, I don't want to give any very theoretical risk framework and all. We may talk about it, maybe, but I thought of having this particular risk highlighted very high level, just to be very practical in approach rather than a theoretical. So what are those particular large risks that we face? It could be biased or a discriminatory process that can come in. What are the models that you're using it? What are the data that you fit in? May provide some sort of biasness to certain people or discriminate to certain group of people or a section of population, whatever. A second important point is that AA does a lot of hallucination, and it also provides fake information about it. Hallucination is a pretty bad in the sense like it trying to be proved it is correct, even though it is not correct. And sometimes it's fake setups to make setup on saying that thing. And also a lot of people can make a fake video and fake content as if that you are speaking or you are saying something. Impersonalization is becoming most of the time a very, very larger risk. Deepfakes and fraud. So people are creating content as if that you are speaking. So there is a voice deepfakes, is in a video deepfakes. A lot of so much of things can be impersonations. Job displacement. I think there are a lot of discussion happens in at least in the Western worlds where the layoffs are happening and people are taking jobs out of it and kind of thing. However, I have a difference of opinion there because there is a natural progression of any kind of innovations might have a displacement. It's not necessarily about taking away the jobs entirely. We had to be upskilling ourselves rather than be worried about the risk about displacement. Autonomous decisions. There are some of the agentic AI can perform, and can decide, and can deliver services autonomously, 100% possible. And that brings in a bit of a risk in case if it's not controlled, if not tested, it's not verified. And also models might degenerate over the period of time. And we have to be careful about all those particular autonomous decisions are continue to be relevant and correct. Privacy violations, people in the interest of getting some LLM outputs quicker, without understanding what they are uploading, they upload very, very confidential information about an organization, about themselves, about their family, about their communities. And that's really, really an issue because that's getting into an ocean of public document. Whatever so far classified is now become no more classified. That's a major risk of any organization about it, whether it's personal as well as enterprise version 2 has the same problem. The last, but not the least, is about you are not taking any actions to adopt it. You remain as is. That's going to be the single most risk that you may have or your organization may have it. People are going at a very, very high speed. And if you do not get on to the speed in which they progressing, we may be laggard. We may lagging very behind. It is not like previous innovations like a cloud or maybe even a client server architecture. This is really, really happening and quite fast is happening. And we have to keep this pace. Even if you're a person who's continuously learning himself, he might find that he is at the risk of losing his competency or latest knowledge. So he has to be educated, trained up, as well as keep training himself with the knowledge levels. That's, I think, is the most important risk. It's also for individual, also for organizations about it. Right. Right. Okay. Now, what are those particular control frameworks that we have it or a governance framework we have that we can probably take a look at it? And here, something like I'm talking about a large 3 practices or a compliance framework, which is very internationally recognized it. It is not locally available or internationally recognized it. ISO 42001 is one of the AI management system, is a framework which provides you a management system. It enables and establishes, maintains, and operates in the systems continuously. It's like it's as equivalent of ISO 27001 for information security risk, ISO 42 does it for the AA risk. It's becoming really, really popular. It provides a very structured approach for you to understand the risk and mitigate risk. It provides certain control framework for you to look at it. And the most important thing is that it allows you to look at it, objectives and impact assessment. Before you get on to anything, you have to understand what objectives that you're going to be achieving out of it and what is the impact it's going to be creating either on your organization, yourself, or a community that you're belonging to. Probably some of ISO standards people will be there. It's all about interested parties. So you need to look at an interested parties risk assessment. It's a certifiable standard. Organizations are getting certified. We're also happy to inform we have been working with some of our clients to make them certified. And it is quite good standard. It can be easily used it for certification purpose. It has a global applicability because it has provided a number of important things. It's a culmination of a lot of standards, knowledge. So it is applicable globally. It doesn't bother only about Middle East or Western countries or whatever. It's applicable everywhere. Again, the risk and governance continuous improvements is one of our paramount importance to them. So everything starts with the risk, provides a governance framework, and then also continuous implement is in a PDCA cycle of any ISO standards. Okay, probably some of you know about it. NISTA risk framework. It's one of the another excellent framework. It released in 2023, got updated with the GenAI profile in 2024 July. It has 4 different functions. Probably some of you know about NISTs. NIST do the same thing, same structure. Here also the same structure follow: govern, map, measure, and manage. And these are the 4 functions. It has to be looked upon it, and then and you can get an implementation. One of the best thing about NIST is that it is really, really objective oriented. It really provides you a playbook, what should be done. It has really detailed enough controls. It provides a pretty excellent framework for you to be adopting and provide. So if you look at this way, you can go with the 42,000 as a requirement statement, what should be done. NIST framework provides you how to be done to the level that has to be provides about it. EU Act provides you a legal boundary for you. What is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what is high risk, provide a classification to that. So it provides you what should be considered as a high risk and what should be the mitigation control for them. It provides in a tiered thing, and it's fully enforceable from August 2026 onwards. Fines are pretty larger, and it really scares people about it.
Senthil, you're on mute.
Yeah, there seems to be some fire testing. Everything happens for a reason, and it happened now, right there in the office. Sorry for that. So the EU Act provides you a legal boundary for you to act upon it, how to do it, and so if any one of you have an organization has an EU and you are implementing some of the controls or some of the AA initiative, you got to be careful about it. EU already has given a lot of things about GDPR controls. Data privacy is important for them. And, so you have to be very careful about in terms of how those AA affecting European subjects and how to take care of those particular risks which is happening in those particular perspective. The way in which I would recommend all of your organizations about it is all 3 of them are complementary to each other. It is not about you pick and choose one and then you get satisfied with them. As I said, you can go within a 42,001 as a requirement statement. What should be done? What should be an objective? What is an impact that you need to do it? Is a requirement statement. Then you can take NIST ARMF as for implementation purpose. It provides a complete playbook for you, and it enables you to really go to the detail of what should be done. And EU provides a legal framework so that you understand the reputational risk, fine, penalties, governmental supervision, all of them. So combining the legislation piece is really, really good. There are some legislations being put in by respective government, but we're going to look into this, what exactly applicable in the Middle East and perspective now. Probably if that particular also can be combined with the EU Act, it will be very great thing for international relevance as well as local compliances. Yeah. Next slide, Udit. Yeah. So this is something which I really liked this, and then I want to give some 2 or 3 minutes to talk about 42001 requirements. So the 42001 requirements take it as a very larger picture. It really goes beyond a simple statement. It also talks about how do you need to do as a stakeholder analysis. It provides a number of stakeholders. Okay, it provides an AI provider. AI provider is like an Anthropic or any other organization which provides you a platform. It can also a product. A company much will come to you to sell some product, and it's applicable to them also. They have to be seeing that what should be done by them as a provider. So you can ask relevant question. You can ensure that they meet a particular benchmark or risk appetite from you. Then only allow them to be used it. It cannot be need not necessarily that open up just because that it's a very popular product or popular frontier. Probably that you know about it. I don't have to talk about it. Everybody knows about what's happening with an Anthropic Mythos, right? It's something very dangerous product which they themselves classify as dangerous and not made it public, but somehow the people got access to them, and they are really taking advantage of that particular thing and trying to be hacking, making that organization secure, insecure, and cybersecurity attacks are happening through a Mythos. And that's the way you need to be careful about what is the provider that you're going to be taking it and why you should be taking it and what controls that you have it before you taking that particular provider and platform and products. Unless otherwise they were able to explain to you how that output is coming in, you cannot trust on them. Particularly if you are going to take a product which is going to be predicting some of the results on your behalf based on algorithm, that explainability has to be very clearly to be available with them. Otherwise, you cannot choose a platform. AI producer, AI developer, in case if your organization is developing internally, what should be done and how you should be looking at a particular perspective about it. AI consumers, you and me use a lot of time about AI and what we should be doing as a user and what are the risks available and how we can handle that particular thing about it. AI is a partner. In an organization like us, we always work with the partners. We have more partners nowadays than ever. And third-party risk is really being very largely coming about it. Here, we are talking about the integrator, data provider, evaluator, and auditor. And these are the partners has to be looked upon from the perspective of what they're going to bring in value to you. The integrator is the person who really integrates it, because when you're trying to be an agentic AI platform, you have to be very careful about how are you going to be integrating, because it could be a MCP protocols may be required, you may be required A2A, agent-to-agent conversation protocols required, you may have an API keys to be developed. Integration itself is one of the ugliest part of that agentic AI is an integration. It really brings down the speed. Data provider also have to be careful because you cannot provide a very secluded or a one-side view of data. It has to be divergent. It has to be large so that your conclusion comes out properly. It doesn't discriminate based on a segment of data. Evaluator has to understand what model you're trying to choose it. What the model capabilities are. If the model is represents what you try to achieve it. If the model is auditable. If the model is consistent. And that's the way that AI evaluator provides it. AI auditor provides the overall third-party opinion about how this has been done, right? Then AI subjects, the data subjects and other subjects. The data being, if you're asking some people to be a part of the data, I have to be careful about they have their own privileges, privacy privileges available. You cannot make data subjects to be losing their, their sensitive data to you just because you want to do an experiment on behalf. Lastly, relevant authorities in terms of local as well as governmental, what are they saying about it? What should be done? And if you look at it, UAE has come up with a very nice 8 strategic objectives and what they were looking at it, what the direction of the government is looking at it. If you look at it from the perspective of Saudi KSA, they have their perspective of an operational adoption strategy things available. and what are they talking, what they should be looking at it. Combined with the privacy laws, we need to be take care of whether the data should be there in this country, data can be out of the country, where the data should be residing, what should be that you know localization perspective, and you need to look at it from the perspective of relevant authorities. So I felt this particular chart provides an excellent overview of what should we look at it from them. Probably you can think about this as a more like a threat modeling, or maybe a kind of whether the risk can emanate from, and how the risk can be identified at each of the stakeholder level, or what are the stakeholders wants to say to you, and how do you can look at it, their requirements, and you have to be uh, have to be careful about what they're looking for an objective from you to deliver. So this is a very nice slide. I thought just give you an to all of you to know about it. If you look at that life cycle perspective risk management, identify, assess, govern, and monitor, it is simple as PDCA of any ISO standards, right? Identify what you like to go and what kind of risk that stakeholder that you are, and evaluate the risk severity and likelihood and impact. How is it going to be impacting it? Govern, set policies, rules, accountability, and ethics, and monitor it. And monitor it over the period of time. Unlike other technological, which has been coded, here the very, very peculiar art of monitoring is about there's something called a model degeneration. Or the model degeneration is a particular thing because model degenerates over the period of time. It drifting off. It drifted from the original objective because it's not coded specifically for the one particular rule-based decision making. It has intelligence-based decision making. It's possible for that particular model to drift it. So unlike in the previous system has been developed by all the coded activities, in AA we have to be a little bit more careful about monitoring. And it has to be given a more importance, and let me not say more important, the equal importance given to the monitoring. It's just not a change management only. If you're thinking about monitoring and performance monitoring and change management, it is not that. It is more in AA perspective. Again, from the life cycle perspective, I wanted to pull up one more diagram, which I felt very, very uniquely placed in 42001. It provides you in a kind of flow diagram in terms of what you should be looking at it from the AA, from the inception stage to design and development to the verification, deployment, operation maintenance, reevaluation, and retirement. These are some of the stages in your AA, and ISO 42000 provides you the life cycle in terms of what you should be doing at each and every stage, and accordingly include those particular framework in your organization about it. Retirement, unlike other organizations with where the IT systems are, probably retirement could be 5 years down the line, but in AA, retirement can happen next day, next month, because maybe it is not correctly developed. It doesn't provide you proper thing, or it provides you negative things about it. So retirement comes too quickly as the next month or next week or next year. So think about in all the life cycle perspective, and then accordingly say, hey, what are those control frameworks should be included in our organization board? Yeah. Now we are getting into a national specific thing. UAE started off its AIDS journey right back in 2017. It has nominated a minister. They're progressing pretty well. They set out some 8 strategic objectives, 5 different sectors been focused on. Saudi Arabia has established SADIA, an ethical principle have been developed by them in 2023, and the A adoption framework in 2024 is very good because all of this governmental directions provides an impetus for those country for development. The level of inquiries we are getting it from UAE, level of inquiry we're getting it from Saudi Arabia for our services, is far among us than anyone else. It could be just a governance framework, it could be a development, and it's really, really happening largely in those countries. And it's going to be a matter of fact for other organizations and other countries also getting it up. But I thought it might be an highlight for you to present it some of the initiatives taken by GCC countries. Right. Now I'm going to be taking some time to explain to you each and everything and what kind of controls that is possible and giving some real case example. So we talked about AI bias and discrimination in the previous slide. So it's all about how you're going to be making it as in a very, very indiscriminate. It should be public. It should be equal. It should be equality based. It cannot be biased towards one particular segment. Unfortunately, some of the models, some of the system developed as larger as an Amazon in the past has gone on to a discriminatory. They were they probably fed pre-training of data as largely towards an gender biased data have been fed into them. The gender bias has really made them to disqualify or not select female candidates in Amazon, and immediately they had to scrap it off. So we had to be careful about what kind of model we're developing it, what kind of data we are feeding in, how the data is divergent and representation of everybody. That's the way that we need to look at it. So some of the risk mitigation um, strategies are you have to be diverse data representing a lot of set subset. And something very important thing is your human oversight. Having worked on 1 or 2 years in AI, I still of the opinion we are way ahead or way behind in terms of making an autonomous decision made by the system on its own. I do not think it is correct for any AI to go without oversight of a human, either at the development or at an operation perspective. Probably this is the third point is the test is a normal quote in every system development. But more specifically out here, in earlier traditional system engineering, people used to be either use a waterfall methodology or agile methodology. It AI follows something called a vibe coding. Vibe coding is about you becoming a program, you becoming a solution architect. But we do not go through that particular solution engineering principle, software development principle. We don't even bother about it. We just write the prompt and then we found we have programmers. So unless we test it and see that every aspect of the testing is possible, I would not even suggest to a rolling out of any solution about it. Bias auditing, transparency, how this been come up, how this particular output coming in, the explainability. Explainability is one of the NIST's important control frameworks, and that it has to be explainable. Where that outcome is coming from, why this outcome is not picking up this gentleman or this segment of a customer, why the discount is not given to them, why the discount is given to them, or is there something like or privilege is provided more to some segment? So it has to be explainable. Otherwise, model is inadequately developed or data is inadequately fed. And it's also important to have a AI governance board right in the beginning so that you have a governance board available which implements it over the period of time. As we talk about second is hallucination. I think hallucination is an important thing to be brought about it. If your AI says 100% sure, then you should be 100% suspicious because it hallucinates. There are lots of times that happen in the past that probably you know about it, like Gen AI has to be reversed back to the LLMs because they had a very misrepresentation of a photograph which has really gone it, and particularly computer revision of a Gen AI has to be bothered about it. Here, there's one particular legal case probably that you know about it. One of the lawyer in New York, he's developed a legal brief based on some prompt that he provided, and it is really found out that he is not even bothered reading it. And judge has to find it saying that this has been developed by the AI, and the court has really taken a very strong statement against him that you can use AI, but at least have to human in the loop to look at it, what is being coming up. So again, one of the best thing that we can do with an hallucination is that there's a couple of technological solutions, there's a couple of organization solutions about it. One of the solutions could be technology solution called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. That is really a good solution. It's possible for you to do an open source based LLMs right in your data center. It doesn't have to be outside of the data center. It can be hosted locally. The RAG can have embedded document from your own policy procedure, your organization about it. So it can really look at it in terms of what is it your organization prescribing for it and accordingly work on it. So it's going to be tailor making your policy procedures to evaluate some of the control implementation in your organization about it. So it's the open models can be installed in your data center, and open data can be embedded through a RAG, and that can be a chunk of data can be embedded, and it becomes very, very specific things about it. So it doesn't hallucinate off in a global standards to the local incorrectly. Verify outputs, fact checking, set temperature. I think one of the things that control in any kind of AI is in temperature, how widely that you want to do a research versus how narrowly you want to check it. So the temperature control has to be very, very fine-tuned it based on the objectivity of your thing. Do you want to open data? You want to do a research? You want to bring in a global information? Then you can have that very less number, very score that for a temperature. When you want to be very specific to the policy procedure implementation, you want to come up with a judgmental based solution. Your temperature has to be really, really gone to the 9 out of 10 kind of scoring that you need to do it. Train the employees, create a validation checklist. This is something hallucination. It's important to hallucinate because you may have given a wrong impression, a wrong decision because of hallucinates it. Third one is about the deep fake and fraud, probably that you know about it, that people can really impersonalize you as if that I'm a CEO talking, whereas I'm not a CEO of yours. I can make you to make money, to make them to release the money from you, approve it off over the voice calls. And many of the people are nowadays having a voice validation, saying that you can call up your call center agents. You can really you can make that particular fraud as if that someone is really impersonating it. It's possible for them. There are controls, of course. I'm not saying it, but in the year past, many of that authentication happens only through a voice control, and that is really being a fraud. In one of the organizations, there is some $25 million has been paid off just because that one of the employer accountant was listening to one video, deep faked video, where somebody impersonating it and having a live conversation with an employee, making him to believe that gentleman is the CEO of an organization. He empowers that. And you know what? The control we are talking about it as simple as multi-factor authentication, callback. Callback is a control that we know for ages in IT background. We will cut the calls and restart the conversations to see like whether the call is coming from the approved source or not. So some of the traditional hygienic simple controls can still valid for AI also. It's not necessarily sophisticated control. It could be simple, rudimentary MFAs and callback procedure can really do well. And also awareness program, never trust anybody anymore on the videos contents or voice content. You have to be really careful about it. If you feel suspicious, cut the call them back to your people that from your own calls, that'll be better. Moving on to the fourth one, it is privacy violation. The important thing that you need to look at it. I don't know how many of you know about it. It is a very, very famous case. Samsung has, by mistake, has released off his source code of some of the system they are developing it. One of the engineer uploaded everything of the source code of a Samsung. Can you believe that? He never bothered about confidentiality. He never bothered about privacy. Probably he got a deadline to pass it. He wants to a quality to be a bug to be created. So he just uploaded everything, and then and he got found that it's not to be uploaded. Imagine that you lost your IP. Imagine that your 10, 15 years of IP that you have been keeping it has just lost in one single day. That's what happened in a Samsung. Again, never paste confidential information. Data minimization is important. It might be possible that you have to use some of the data in your LLM. So minimize it, strip off on any confidential document, make it as a kind of sanitized version. So in that way, you can use it rather than just simply uploading any confidential information for you. Yeah. And then fifth one is about your job displacement that we talked about it. The most important thing I would like to say to you, everybody talks about layoff. It is probably happening in some other part of the world. and but it's compensated with other jobs related created in AA. So probably people are moving from the non-AA tech people to AA tech people, non-AA literate people to AA literate people. So we need to, always to be relevant, has to be appropriate and competent. We have to be train ourselves, make ourselves literate. What are those all been talking about it? What is that particular AA fluency that we wanted? How can make our employees fluent and proficient? And in that way that we can quickly upskill them so that they will never lose their job. They may lose their job, but they will never lose a career. They may lose an employment opportunity, but they may land themselves into a pretty good position later. And transitioning is important. We in some of the organizations that we really felt very comfortable. In one organization we worked upon, CEO made it very clear he doesn't want to fire anybody, and he's given a chance to everybody to learn, and we became a trainer for them. We trained CEO to the manager level people, individual different perspective. Could be in a strategic content, some of them are very technical content, but everybody got trained up. They got a chance to do it. It might probably reduce their productivity to a larger extent, but they never made themselves susceptible for losing the job. And some of the organizations really done a transitioning, created new roles for the AA, and they're going on. They're very happy about it. Engage employees earlier, because the fear is really at times goes to this some words muddy somebody's mind very badly, and he thinks negatively. Anything that you bring it up, it becomes a negativity, and he never appreciates whatever it comes up proper. Last one about the sixth one is about autonomous decision making. As we talked about it, I am of the opinion, having worked in it 2-3 years continuously on machine learning based AI applications and also Gen AI based applications, we're still not there to make that particular solution completely autonomous. It is risky. We're not comfortable of doing it. So human in the loop, HILT, is an important risk mitigation strategy. Do not allow to allow that particular decision made by them on its own for a period of time. Let it happen, let it mature, then you can probably have a thing. Explainability is important. How this decision is made, which factor has been made that particular decisions to say yes, no, or some range. That's very important. So without explanation of any output which comes to you, probably you can question them like, okay, what is the reason for this particular decision being made? Graduated autonomy, slowly improve the complexity and then and sophistications. Do not just go to a full burst and autonomous mode right in the beginning. Keep a kill switch. I think probably that some of the cybersecurity people in this call may know about it, what to a kill switch. So at any particular point in time, if something is really happening bad, you just have to take one single point to destroy it. And that is important to have a kill switch for an autonomous decision making. And the last, an accountability. Who is the person who allowed this autonomous engine to come in, and how he is responsible for it? That's the way I would like to say some of the risk exposure, real world examples, as well as the control framework that probably you can look at it. We already got on to a 45 minutes time. Last slide, I'm going to talk about quality assurance principles. Any things about in terms of establishing standards, governance framework. You can have a requirement statement, quality management, particularly data management. If you look at the number three is actually something very explicitly talking about data quality, because AI all depends on data. Unlike other quality assurance program, you would not have given this data quality as in a singular principle or maybe a important aspect, but here data quality is important. AI strategy, lifecycle management, model validation, performance testing. These are some of the elements that you need to keep in your quality assurance. Rigorously evaluate your things. Do not allow anything to come out of the solution unless you're comfortable. We are not in the race of getting our automated processes, autonomous processes. Let there be an automated process to sink in for some time, then we can make it autonomous. Let us use AI for some time before agentic AI coming in. Let all this go through a quality assurance program so that things are in a good shape. Okay, now with the due respect to the time, I want to be listens to some of the questions. Udit, can we look into some of the questions can come up?
Sure, sure. Well, thank you, Senthil, first of all, for this insightful session. Everybody who is joining in, please, you can send your questions in the in the chat box. Senthil, just I would start with one question. We have heard this quite a lot from a lot of organizations, that ethical usage of AI, right? So, from organization perspective, how can companies ensure ethical usage of AI? I think you covered some of the privacy aspects. So how can they ensure that while also building awareness amongst their employees who may not be fully aware about the AI risk that you have just mentioned? So can you
Okay,
tell us more on the ethical usage of AI, please?
good one. Very nice. See, ethical usage, I think it's largely, as we covered it, bias and discrimination. Ethical is about how ethically that output is going to be given to the people and how it is not altering or impacting other group of people about it. Ethical also is about it, like if you remember, one of the greatest case that we have with it, Anthropic is really decided to not to allow the Mythos to be going online because they themselves found that the model is going to be dangerous for cybersecurity and nobody can stand in front of them. It will become a superhuman being for cybersecurity. So there is probably an ethical board in an Anthropic organization decided not to allow this to go because they found it's too dangerous to deliver. So the code of conduct of board of directors, code of conduct of employees, ethical standard of organization about it. Some of the ethical board are really required to look at it in terms of how much that ethical is looking at it. So it's ethical is all about not discriminating anybody or not only giving a privilege to certain people about it, and also it has to be moral standard. It has to be beyond anybody's doubt. Hey, why this is being given to other organization, not to me or to a company. So ethical board is one of the look at it, one way to look at it. Code of conduct for the developer is important things to look at it. Testing important. Data, how much data has been given, what data has been forwarded into them. Either the data is already manipulated, data is very clear, either a divergent data is available, so that the data is not going to be listening to one section of the population only. So ethical from the concept level, ethical at the coding level, ethical at data level, and ethical at the output level. If somebody goes through this four different element, it's possible for us to eliminate biasness and bring in transparency to everybody.
Right. Thank you, Senthil, for the answer. So we have some questions in the question answers tab. So first is, what kind of clear boundaries should be set using for AI LLM tools in personal versus corporate contexts? What type of information should never be shared with AI tools?
Lovely, lovely. I think that really brings it a point. So in ISO 27001, information security, that we used to have something called an acceptable usage policy. AA do also expect an acceptable usage of AA as something is coming up. We have to be providing that particular usage policy explanation to the organization of, okay, what is considered to be an acceptable usage, what is not considered to be an acceptable usage about it. For example, a Samsung employee is following it up or uploading the entire database or our entire soft code is not an acceptable usage at all. An organization spent a lot of time and efforts in terms of developing an IP. One gentleman, just because of his either he does not have a time or he does not have a patience to go through it, he just uploaded everything and then organization lost it. So in that way, acceptable usage policy is becoming the most important aspect of it. And second aspect of it is about what are those particular guardrails in terms of that particular model has to be bothered about it. We should not do this, and accordingly. For example, if we feel that confidential data should not be uploaded to the personal, for example, your own probably photograph of a personal nature, or any social security number, or civil ID number, or number which you feel that is very important that you don't want us to be uploaded to anywhere, you can probably mask it. Probably you can strip them off of that, and then probably use some kind of impersonalization by yourself and minimizing the data, so that you still want the output but without the actual numbers. So sanitization is an important control. Some quality assurance has to happen before the data is being shared. And also in some of the advanced agentic AI, as in a data pipeline comes from directly from the production data, which is something which has to be careful about it. So we cannot open up the production data coming directly to an agentic AI decision making. Probably you can have a staged environment of the data coming in, and then being looked into that, what the quality principles before the data is moved out to agentic AI decision making. So for the personally as well as enterprise level, how the data pipelines or data is being uploaded is important. It is over the period of time that awareness will come. It may not be happening right immediately. It will over the period of time will come. It's in a usage, it's in a discipline. It has to be, it should come up over the period of time.
All right. Thank you, Senthil. Next question is, somebody has raised concern about deep fakes. So they want to know how can they become aware of the same, it's form of identity theft. So how can they ensure that, they are not a victim of identity theft via deep fake?
Okay, good one. There are controls are being developed. Each and everybody who's now creating content, they are now trying to be watermarking or providing some kind of inaudible voices, or some sort of a continuous stream of the data which being recorded, and how they recorded, where they recorded, how this has been done, and also it's been done nowadays in terms to see the deepfake face is really understood it, saying that this is actually not a original person talking, is a different person. So watermarking is available in a video as well as audio. And there is an IP, which IP number is talking what time, where that IP is talking from GPS related documentation, saying that, okay, if you're in Kuwait, this particular latitude, attitude is coming in, so that you know where this data is coming from. Is not coming from, if you're talking to your Kuwait-based employee and boss, you cannot have a GPS location coming in from the Singapore or maybe in Malaysia or wherever. So the GPS-based tracking is also possible. So we understand it, and also about it is kind of any manipulation happen from the original content. There's a kind of largely about footprinting, and also about digitalization asset is happening nowadays. There's a lot of development happening, but still way too early. We are in the thing. We are not in a very comfortable position. It's like a phishing attempt. People have to really understand this could be a possibility of this could be a inhuman, it could be a content generated or manipulated. So we have to be very curiosity mind, inquisitive mind of a person is in a solution at this point in time. Technically, probably in another couple of years time, we may have a mature in terms of identifying what is original versus deep faked. But at this point in time, we have to be careful about it, like phishing.
Okay. Thank you, Senthil. I think last two questions before we wrap up this webinar. One other question is, are there any DLP tools available as of now that are able to integrate with the organizations, LLMs, AI chatbots, and other tools that the employees can use to enforce the data protection?
Good point. I think just before answering this question, let me give it to you what exactly one of the conversations that I had with another person. So if you're enterprise version of a Copilot, you may have two tabs available. One is a personal, one is about web. So it is a local as a web. So if you anything which goes to the web, it goes to the web from your laptop or your computer, whatever server. It cannot be retrieved back or cannot be brought it back. So it's had to be very careful about what data that you're doing it. the question now is about, do we have a DLP solution about it? Unfortunately, the DLP solution is not government level. There are solutions available, filtering level, and particularly when the data streams is available, but not as a content which has been shared by an individual person, as in a one PDF document, one Excel worksheet, or one particular photograph, or one video clipping. Unfortunately, that is not still working. We reached out to based on some query, we reached out to a original frontier development company in US. Unfortunately, they themselves do not have a solution for this DLP. So again, as I said, the technical advancement of data filtering or data channelizing it will take some time. But at least for the enterprise level, data level, there are solutions available. The data which is now can be moved internally to a different segment, can be stored in that particular segment before data is being forwarded to anybody else. But more of a controls, not in a DLP, but network segmentation, data segmentation is possible on enterprise level data. But when it comes to personal, people have to be careful about it at this point in time.
Okay. The one question is that, are there any AI laws applicable in Kuwait or in the region? Is there any particular requirement by law within this region? Apart from what you have mentioned, I think Saudi side and UAE side, but in Kuwait, I don't think so. But yeah, of course, please.
Okay. Okay. The CITRA is now coming up with lots of more initiatives, which is not something we cannot say that nothing available. Which not necessarily related to the AA as an AA, but the data classification, data thing, cloud policies, cloud environment perspective. And as for the CITRA guidelines, any listed companies or a company working in private sector, as well as if they classify the data as in a tier 4, then you need to have the data to be either encrypted and sent outside, or should be only be available in Kuwait premises. So it may not directly related to the AA, but at least some level of controls available from the CITRA. And each of the regulators, like probably insurance regulator, banking regulator, are coming up with a force, and they are now making the data is localized. It cannot be going out of it. And also they're talking about it, some AI controls, emerging technologies controls are coming up. I think from the perspective of control, there's a lot to be done. However, there are bits and pieces of it which has to be looked upon from the Kuwait as well.
Right. Thank you, Senthil. I think there's one last question which I will answer as part of the wrapping up. First of all, thank you so much for your insightful session. Thank you everyone for joining in. Let's take the last question. The last question is there any kind of compliance AI tool specifically for the GCC regulatory landscape? So, we as AGMS Group, we also have our own technological tools, especially compliance tools. We have enhanced our current compliance tools in terms of, let's say, on the AML side, for example. We have come up with a rule generator for transaction monitoring, which is AI-based, which learns on its own and, gives you some kind of rules that can be developed for transaction monitoring. Apart from that, we also have another tool which will, look at your results and give you which one is a more critical result that you should look at, so that you can avoid. This is more on the financial institution side, wherein these rules give you an intelligent insight how you can avoid false positives and take a faster decision. So yeah, that's the answer to the last question. Thank you everyone for your time. If you are currently exploring AI initiatives or already deploying AI, this is the right time to assess your governance and risk readiness. At AGMS, we help organizations with, defining the AI strategy, AI risk assessment, governance framework implementation, as well as AI model validations, as well as quality assurance. We would be happy to connect with you and discuss how this can be tailored to your organization. Please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you once again for joining in. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.